Hello again, this is Brendan Cronin. Welcome to Chefin', some snippets from my memoir, from Chefin' from Potatoes to Caviar. And today I'd like to talk about Rosti, which is a Swiss specialty, something I learned to make when I was in Switzerland many years ago. And it is essentially evolved from using leftover boiled potatoes. And it's very common, particularly in the mountains in Switzerland, on the ski slopes in the winter. It is predominantly a cold weather dish and very fulfilling. And I'm going to make it today with some bacon. So when you have some potatoes, these have been boiled or steamed in the skin. And the reason we leave the skin on is because the potato retains a lot of its moisture. And now we're going to peel it. And peeling a cooked potato, many people will start and they'll take the skin off like this. And this can be very tedious. It takes a long time. So the way I do it is I just run the knife down along the potato like that. And I just scrape off. It's more you're scraping the knife. You notice how I hold the knife? I hold it like that, scraping off the skin and all the little black spots that come with the potato, so-called eyes. That's where the sprouts would come for the potato to grow. And there we've got it completely peeled. Now I'm going to grate it. I've got my little grater here, same as a cheese grater, and I'm going to grate that down. You can see how it's coming out beautifully, and it's easy to do. I cook these potatoes about 80%, so they're slightly hard in the middle, that way that they grate very well. Now I've got the potatoes and I want to season them, so they're beautifully cooked potatoes. Sometimes when you're seasoning, I've got salt and pepper, and to put the salt and the pepper separately can be cumbersome because the salt has a different texture in the fingers, so a pinch of salt and a pinch of pepper will be very different in quantity. So what I do, I mix the two together. I mix the salt and the pepper, and that way when I sprinkle it, the pepper is evenly coated because the salt carries it with it. So there I have just a little bit, and I toss those off, mix it up, and now what I'm going to do is I'm going to pan fry and make a little cake with this, with some butter, and of course some nicely chopped bacon, which I've got here, some smoked bacon. It's going to give it a very good flavor. This is a typical a dish, like I said, in the mountains of Switzerland, definitely originated with the farmers using leftover potatoes from the night before. Okay, so here we are with our frying pan where we're going to fry the food. This nice beautiful rosti, and I'm using a non-stick, what we call a Teflon pan, and I've got my gas at medium, and we're going to put in, using a wooden spoon. You want to avoid using metal when you're using Teflon. So we're going to put in our bacon. This is just a regular smoked bacon that I've chopped up a little bit, and I do want to fry that a little bit. And of course, no Swiss rosti potato dish would be complete without a little butter. So we're going to put on just a little butter in here. And we want to fry this bacon, but we don't want to make it crispy because the texture of the potatoes and the bacon, we want them to be similar. We don't want to have crunchy pieces of bacon inside the potato. So there we've got our bacon. Now it's time to add in the potato. I'm going to sprinkle the potato inside. It's already seasoned, you'll remember. And there we got that. And now I'm going to just mix the bacon and just toss it a little bit, just like that, to mix it. There we go. We got our bacon completely mixed in through the potato. And now what we want to achieve here is we want to have a golden crust on the bottom. This will become a cake in a few minutes. And I'm just going to continue here to have it browned. And that's the great advantage of having a Teflon pan, because it's not going to stick. If you try this in a cast iron pan, you may not have as much success in getting to be non-stick. This is a very popular dish, like I said, in Switzerland, particularly up in the mountains and more rural areas, in the ski slopes, on the restaurants on the ski slopes. Many people serve this with the potato cake as it's finished, when you see later on, with a fried egg on top, and even with some bacon. It can become just lunch on its own. So now I want to shape the potato cake. I want to have it the same size as the pan. I have sauteed off the bacon. I've added the potatoes, seasoned potatoes, and I've moved them around in the pan. Now, as you can see with my wooden spoon, I'm beginning to give it a shape around the edge and make it as round as possible. And then I also flatten it with the spoon, just to begin that the potato begins to stick together, so that when I flip this, it doesn't fall apart. And it also has a appetizing color and shape to it. So there we go. We're just flattening that out and getting it to smooth the edges. So the edges have to be very smooth. That will literally prevent it from falling apart. And now what we want to have it is to get nice golden brown on the bottom. And to help that process along, I'm just going to run my spoon of butter just around the edge like that. You can see how the butter melts and it just goes down into the, and that will seep in underneath the potatoes and give it a flavor. One thing to remember about cooking as well is that if food is in contact with a metal surface and there is no fat medium applied, the food will become black. It will burn. So we need fat in between the pan and the potato in order to give the brown color. I'm going to add a little butter. You can see how beautiful golden color it's taken on. And this is just about enough for one person, really, maybe even two, depending on your appetite. And the butter gives it that beautiful golden color. You can see just a perfect Swiss Rosti potato cake. Now you saw me flipping it earlier on, and for those of you who might not want to undertake that, and if you read my book in chapter 3, it took me many tries to learn this, make this potato cake, particularly to flip it without it breaking and without it falling on the floor. And I think there's some humorous stories describing that in chapter 3 when you're reading the book. So for those of you at home who may not want to do that, you can also turn the potato cake by just taking it and putting it on the plate. Just slide it out onto the plate, right? And then you can put the pan on and just turn it upside down, and it's back in the plate. And you can use it like that. So that's quite an easy way to do it. Thank you for watching. I'm sitting here on the terrace of the restaurant where I teach culinary arts. I hope you enjoyed this video clip. There are a lot of extracts from my book, Chefin' From Potatoes to Caviar. If you go to my website, BrendanCroninBooks.com, you'll find some recipes there, some pictures of additional recipes. And please make comments on this video. I'd love to hear from you. Thank you.